Hi, guys, and welcome to today's episode on The Next Chapter, a place where we get brutally honest about what it takes to break cycles, show up for our families, and rewrite our stories with no fluff, just real talk, real stories, and practical tools that can actually help you moving forward. I'm your host, Luke Jones, and today's guest is someone that's all about helping others thrive, not just survive, which this show is all about. Chris Langrish, founder of Thrive, the Thrive Facebook community. So today we're going to be diving into deep transformation, mindset, fitness, and what it means to let go of what is no longer serving us. So let's get stuck in. So Chris, just for a bit of context for the listeners, please, who are you and what do you do?
Right, I'm Chris, and what I do is I help people become more confident, realize that they're capable of a lot more than they'd ever thought possible. And by doing that, I get them to do things like I grab people together, we're going to climb a mountain, we're going to do this, we're going to run this, and working together as a group. So we all encourage each other to do that. I also do actually run an accountability group as well for a very small little group where they say what they want to do and they basically say it to everyone and they've got to do it basically. And we all encourage each other to achieve that. So we're all accountable. But yeah, that's basically what I do. Organize dips, cold water dips in the sea, which is very successful. Boot camps, anything to do with fitness really and getting people moving.
Brilliant. That sounds just like my cup of tea, really, as you probably know from following me on my socials. So before you built these communities and you had this transformation in Chris, what did life look like before all that happened? Let's go back.
How far do you want to go? How long you got? Well, I mean, it was a total different to what I do now. I mean, totally the opposite. I was actually a DJ, early 90s.
Okay.
I was in the rave scene. I was in the dance scene. So you can imagine what it was like in the 90s. I can remember parts of it. There was lots of parties, it was good times. Don't get me wrong. It was really good times. And I don't regret a lot of it. I've got to be honest, if I'm being brutally honest. It was good fun. Made a lot of friends. And of course, if you're a DJ, obviously you're important. And I actually started being a DJ actually because someone told me that it was a good way to call women. And that's why I did it. So if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Brutal honesty. That's what we're all about here.
Yeah, and I loved it. So I was DJing lots of late nights and lots of drinking and lots of everything else, which you can imagine it's a very unhealthy lifestyle, which is totally different to what I'm doing now.
Mm.
And yeah, that was basically it really. I was just very much into the party scene, and I was always the last one to leave a party. And it wasn't to say I did drink quite a lot those days, but I think when you're young you can kind of put up with it. I mean, you could probably party all weekend and still get to work fresh as a daisy on a Monday. I don't know how I did it, but that's what it was like.
Yeah, I think it's a different kettle of fish when you're in your 20s and your 30s, and then when you get to your 40s, you sort of get to that midlife. It's a bit of a reflection point. I think a lot of people would frame it as a midlife crisis, but for me, it definitely hasn't been, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Chris.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I think I hope that word midlife crisis is thrown around a lot. I mean, I didn't buy a motorbike or anything yet, or a sports car. You know, I had a seven-seater car, so that's not happened. But yes, it was. I think what it is you get to a point and you realise that you're not immortal, and you've only got so many, days on this planet, and something just sort of clicks in your head where you think, "Can I see myself doing this?" And you can't. You've got to grow up at some point. It could take to your 40 to go up, but I think it did with me, to be honest.
Mm. Was there a turning point? Looking back, was there a rock bottom, or was it a slow burner? Just because for me, it was a slow burner. I love the analogy of a death by a thousand cuts. I think it happened over a long time. It was a big build up of drink and drugs and everything else, and got to a point where I just thought, do I really, really want to carry on like this? There was a few other moments. There was the death of my father-in-law, and my son asking me if I was alcoholic, a few other little things. And I was just like, wow, I've got to change. And that was the turning point for me. Does any of that resonate with you? Or is there any standout moments, or was it a mixture?
I think it was a very slow burn. I mean, it took, I was getting away with it for a long time. It wasn't causing anyone any problems. It wasn't, it was just me, on my own. And I think things started to become apparent that I couldn't carry on the same way was when I got married and you have kids which are involved, and you have to be on the ball. You have to be present with them. You have to be taking them to the parties, waking up extremely early, which is what I wasn't used to. My waking up time was when I could get out of bed, which was 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I think it was a gradual thing where you start realizing you can't do that. You can't be drinking and you can't then be getting up the next day to deal with children. And it went on and on and on. And it said there was a turning point, which I'll probably go into a bit later, where it was, the relationship was beginning to fail. A lot many years got into our marriage and things weren't going right. And I was very stressed. And I remember going out and coming back because it was one of the actual times I was actually, going out whilst we were together. And I got very, very tired. It was very emotional. I promised I was going to cook a roast dinner, and I cooked the roast dinner. And I remember coming out and giving the roast dinner to my wife and my kids. And they all said, "Oh," well, one of the kids said, "I'm not hungry." And the other kid said, "I'm not hungry." And my wife said, "Actually, I'm not hungry." And all of a sudden, I just started shaking. And I had this moment. It was like a pressure cooker going off. And I remember grabbing them. I laugh now, what I mean? It's like, it was ridiculous. But at the time, it was just this, almost like a breakdown, I think. And I grabbed the plates and I took them into the kitchen and scraped all the dinner off and put it in the bin. And then I sort of shaking. And I remember coming into the lounge. And I remember just saying, I can't do this. I need help. That, I can remember that. It's clear as day. As you can tell, that was probably a moment where I thought I need to change. It was quite a dramatic thing.
Were you talking to yourself then, Chris, or is this your wife or your kids?
It was talking to my wife at the time. I think because I've been very much, you can't class it the rock, the one who sorted things out, or very positive. It's always been a positive person, as you can tell. I'm very positive about things, and I kept things together. Always saw the bright side, and I kept that going for a long time. But as I say, there was lots of things building up. There was money problems. I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. Because I was getting stressed, I was drinking probably more than I should be. So instead of, like, on a Friday, I think a lot of people on a Friday, you would grab a couple of bottles of beer or whatever. And that then was a couple of bottles of wine. Then that grew to, oh, actually, I think I'm going to be careful my weight. I might buy vodka now, vodka and Diet Coke, because that's a bit healthier, whatever. Right. And then, I would have drinking that, and it was just getting more and more pressure. And I think it was just a point where you just can't keep that going, and you can't keep that false thing going any longer, saying I can cope. And I just said, look, I can't do this anymore. And I was looking for help, which I think it was a bit of a shock for my wife at the time, who was not used to seeing me, that side of me at all. And she did, and she didn't know how to handle it, and I can see that. She didn't know what to say, and I was looking, almost like I was looking for a bit of reassurance, or something, like, to her to grab hold of me and say it's going to be all right. But I didn't get that because she didn't know what to do, and that was the point where, it was the turning point.
Do you think she was just shocked because you had held it in for that long? I mean, that's one thing with us men, that stiff upper lip, that, especially our generation. We're not meant to show our emotions. We're meant to hold it all in. We're meant to be the man, look after the family, breadwinner in most cases, and steer the ship in the right direction. So a lot of pressure on your shoulders.
I think that goes for a lot of men. Yes, we kind of feel like we've got to be in charge and hold that everyone together, and not show weakness. Um, and I think that, I mean, I think it's getting better now, but I think it's still a big thing, to show weakness and to show vulnerability. And I think some women don't. It's not their fault. Maybe they're not used to it. And I think that's what it is. I think we need to do it more. We need to talk about things more. And I'm a big believer of that now. After obviously what happened, if I talked about it, say before, I said, look, things are getting tough here. I don't think I would have been in the same situation.
Yeah.
It's because I held it all together and bottled it all up. And it got myself in a bit of a pickle. That's where we ended up,
Yeah. Yeah. It's so strange, isn't it? Women, they speak to each other. They'll go out. They won't, they won't, they won't take the mick out of each other. Um, I've tried to open up to mates before in the past and had the piss taken out of me, and you sort of go into a shell almost, don't you? And it's so tough to be vulnerable, especially in a group of blokes. When it's one on one, it can be very different, but especially in groups of men, how women get treated if they broke down, if they started sharing their problems, it would be completely different. With a set of blokes, generally, they're going to be like, come on, mate. What the hell are you on about? Sort your life out. It's
Drink.
have a drink, exactly. And this is what I say all the time. Women can go shopping, they can go for coffee or whatever. If you say to one of your mates, "Oh, do you want to go for a coffee? Do you want to go shopping? Do you want to go to the cinema?" It's
Yeah.
just, yeah. So we always end up.
I'm going to call you something.
So we end up in the pub, and then we start drinking, and then we're in that vicious circle, that vicious loop, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And everything seems okay for a while. When you've had a few drinks, you can solve a lot of problems, you feel like, until the next day when they're 100 times worse.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So fitness is clearly played a big part in both of our lives. I follow you on social media, and I've obviously seen your Facebook group as well. I know you're really into your cold plunges. So what is your daily routine now? What does that look like, and what is your go-to training style like these days, Chris?
Right. So, yes, my routine now, I mean, I don't know, you've probably been following my socials, but at the moment I've got this bit of a challenge for myself, which I'm doing, which is doing 30 press ups, 30 squats, 30 burpees, 30 kettlebell swings, and 30 kettlebell shoulder presses with a 30-minute walk or jog and a cold shower or dip or cold dip. And I've been doing that every day now. So the idea is I'm going to do that every day for the whole year. And it's basically to show people that, this only takes, I think this all together of all the walks and everything else would probably take about 40 minutes throughout the day, and that can be spread over the day. So I do that as a baseline fitness. The rest of the time, so I have to go for a walk every day. Walk first thing in the morning. I think it's so important. Or run. It gets you thinking. It sort of clears your head. It wakes you up. And I think everyone should walk or get some fresh air, get that early morning sunlight, get up a little bit earlier. It's, the world's a different place. I mean, as you said, and I've seen you going for runs and there's no one around. It's pitch black. You've got the world to yourself. It's a different world.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. So I do that. So I do like the running, but I do like the weight training. So I do a lot of weight training, which I do 3 to 4 times a week, which is it's keeping me strong. And then as I get older, as you know, keeping your muscles working and things is going to help you when you're older age. I'm a big believer in moving now to prepare myself for older age. So in the old days, it used to be, I want a six pack and look good. Now I just want to be able to live longer and be able to run around after my kids, be able to get off a chair unaided and be able to walk up the stairs unaided. I see that I'm planning for my future more than anything now for what I do. And plus I like the gym because I don't know about you, but if you go to these gyms, it's not just working out, it's a bit of a social club as well. So you get to chat to the same people in the gym. You open up a little bit as well, which is really good. So you're getting the dopamine hit and your whatever, and plus you're unloading as well. So it's pretty good. So I really enjoy the gym for that, not just the weightlifting, but for the chatting and the talking.
You get the community as well. You get that community feel, that connection.
Yeah, definitely. And it's great. We're in the same goal. We all help each other out. So I really enjoy doing that. And obviously the other things of the cold plunges as well. which I do every single Saturday and most Sundays as well, whatever the weather. And again, it's a really big community as well. It's not just to see; it's bringing people together, having a chat, having a cuppa, having a cake, definitely cake, which is very important. It makes the scene get much more enjoyable. And yeah, that's what I do. That's my fitness really, and mobility work as well. So I forgot about that. A lot of mobility work, which is they call it old people's movement, but it's getting their hips moving and getting full range of motion in your shoulders and in your hips. So I like to keep mobile that way as well.
You mentioned walking earlier, Chris, and walking for me has been transformational. If you would have told me a couple of years ago, when you're feeling stressed, just go for a walk, I would have been like, what the hell are you talking about? You just want to grab a beer and get it down your, like, get it straight down, don't you? I mean, that it's that quick release. But I remember when I first started going for these walks, I'd be walking for 10 minutes and I'd be like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I walking? This ain't doing anything for me. And then all of a sudden, it's like 15, normally like 15, 20 minutes if I'm really stressed and really wound up or whatever. 15, 20 minutes, like your mind just, it's like it transforms. You'll see someone walking a dog and you'll say hello or hi, or you'll look at the green hills, or you look at I live by the coast now as well. So I'll look at the waves, I'll get lost in the sea, and all of a sudden, boom, my mindset is just transformed. And I
Mm.
can't explain it. And it's like, wow, this stuff does work. So yeah, just what you were saying earlier about walking is, and it's that movement. I always go back, I always say to my clients that movement is medicine, and it really, really is. You get that body moving, you get the endorphins going, and yeah, it gives you that real boost, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, walking the same again for me. It's a time where I have my best thoughts, planning the day, so where I can almost switch off. What I do is I put my phone away as well, so and I switch on silent, so I don't get any notifications or whatever, and I just go and I walk by the sea as well, which is I'm very lucky to live by the sea. So I've got a special walk I do. It's just about a 3 mile walk generally. Also I have a spot where I sit and I basically just sit there for 3, 5 minutes, whatever. And I shut my eyes and all I do is listen and I listen to the waves. It's more like a bit of meditation for me. And it's just, again, it's like, it's clearing your brain, clearing your mind, get rid of all the thoughts from yesterday or whatever. And it's like, imagine, say, I always see it as if you've got a phone, you've got loads of tabs on your phone. It's basically get rid of all those tabs and you'll start fresh again. And that's how I see doing that, the walking and the sitting as well. And again, as you said before, the walking is energy. And energy's like, it cheers you up, it boosts your mood. Any movement has that effect. We are energy. So you can imagine if you want to say, if you're in a mood or a bit of a funk or whatever, movement can solve it. It can solve it. Just getting out of your chair and moving around can change the way you feel. Going to the gym, as or running, it can change the way you feel straight away. I even say my kids, I don't even want to try this, right? But when my kids are in a right mood and you just tell they're really moody, I get them to stand up and I say, skip around this room. Do you know what? And you can try this if you want, if everyone's listening. Get off the chair, skip, right? I dare you will not be able to feel sad, right? Skip it. You will smile, right? It's
Yeah.
movement. It's fun, and the kids love it. You do look stupid. I don't care. I'll skip, and you will laugh, smile, and it will get you out of any mood. So,
You,
little tip here, there. Little tip.
I used to box back in the day, so we used to do loads of skipping. And do you mean properly with a rope? Yeah, you don't mean just jumping
I
up
mean,
and
just
down.
skipping.
Yeah,
Just skip it, like how kids skip around.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The kids just naturally want to skip to the shops
yeah,
because they're
yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah.
If you do that, right? I found no one yet. I've found no one yet who's miserable skipping.
It's so true. It is so
It's
true.
true.
Yeah, and
Try
that's
it.
just bouncing up and down. Yeah, yeah,
Give me, yeah. So yeah, moving its energy, and I always believe in that. Just get moving.
yeah. Movement is medicine. Movement is energy. So true.
Yeah.
We've uh, we've touched on cold plunges. Now this has become another obsession of mine. Definitely since going sober last year. I obviously, like yourself, being lucky enough to live by the sea, I started going in the sea. every morning, but it does take a lot of time, and obviously you've got to plan it a little bit, and then you've got to get back, and you've got to dry yourself, and you've got to this, that, and the other. So, and then it obviously in the winter it got very dark. So I bought a plunge pool and put it in the back garden. So now I jump in that for at least a minute every morning. They have been amazing for me. The dopamine that you get for them, the buzz, the natural high, I think is absolutely amazing. What do you do them? You mentioned earlier that you go on every week, Chris.
Yeah.
Tell me about your
Yes.
cold plunges.
Yes. No, I mean, I will, when I sort of go back again, when I sort of, my recovery, and sort of like finding myself, as you will call it.
Yeah.
COVID was when I really discovered the cold plunges and the cold water.
Okay.
And it's a long story, but we were going to obviously separate, divorce. I was going to move out. And just at the time I was going to move out, COVID came along. We couldn't move anywhere. So you can imagine the situation.
God. Yeah.
I was stuck in, both of us were stuck with each other, you know, a little bit awkward. And we were trying to make it as easy as possible. At the first point, we were buying each other drinks just to get through it. It's just, right, it's evening. Do you know what I mean? We just got to look at each other and um,
Staring at each other drinking.
staring competition, who can pull their worst face at each other. But soon that the novelty wore off of that. And this is, I've got to be honest, drink wasn't having the same effect for me. It wasn't helping me. I didn't really want to drink. And I was starting to do you can imagine, I went for very long walks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though you're supposed to have gone for an hour, I went for quite a lot longer than that, like 6 hours, you know what I mean? And I took a little packed lunch. Again, you weren't supposed to do that, but I did a little packed lunch, and I set off my way. And it was amazing because, I had all this time to think, and it did me the world of good. I mean, I know COVID was terrible for a lot of people, but for me, it was the best. I had all the time in the world to figure out what was going on, my next plan, my next move, spend a bit of time with my kids. And it was amazing, growing vegetables, whatever. But on one of my walks, I was, sorry, okay, I was following a guy, Wim Hof. I mean, we all know Wim
Yeah.
Hof.
Yeah. The legendary Wim Hof. Yeah.
Amazing guy, really interested. And I was sort of looking on YouTube and I'm watching him, and he was doing the breath work and the cold showers and the cold dips, and I was quite interested. Anyway, one day I'm walking along the beach. It's April, and the weather was actually all right, but you can imagine April, the sea's going to be a little bit
It's
nippy,
still cold. Yeah.
fresh, yeah. And I was wearing some shorts and a t-shirt and a hoodie and some, and I looked at the sea and I thought, do you know what? I really want to have a go in there. I mean, it's probably not the most sensible thing to do. I know when I tell people not to do this stuff, but I was on my own and I thought, do you know what? I want to go in. So I didn't have a towel or anything, and I just stripped off. I mean, if anyone saw me, they'd probably have called Samaritans or something, or the lifeguard. But I went in the water on my own, and it was cold. Yeah, it took my breath away. I did the typical, and then I got in the water, and for the first time, once I'd settled down, for the first time, I actually felt at peace. I wasn't thinking about anything. All I was thinking about is, shit, it's cold. Um, and then after that died down, I was thinking, oh, the views here. And then for the first time, for a long time, I felt empowered. I felt strong. I felt confident. I thought, wow, I've just done this. I've achieved something. I've done something which no one else is doing. I'm the only one who's doing this on this beach.
Yeah.
Just me. I was the most stupid one on the beach.
You're the mad one.
The mad one. And I did it, and I felt great. And I came out feeling the best, cold, but feeling amazing. And I remember drying myself off with the hoodie, and it was my jog back to keep warm. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. And that dopamine hit, it lasted a long time.
Yeah.
A very long.
Yeah, they say it lasts hours after you do it, at least 2 or 3 hours. Obviously, it depends on how cold the water is, how long you go in and stuff. I find, yeah, definitely for the first half a day, I can feel it, because on weekends, I'm not in my normal routine, and sometimes I won't go in, and I can definitely notice the difference for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to keep it up. I think you definitely have to keep up with the cold water thing. If you give it too long, I think you forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your body's not ready for And yeah, it's something you've got to keep on doing. And I call this the cold water thing. It's, yes, I like it for the dopamine hit, the way you feel, but I say it's a good thing of discipline as well, because you're doing something which is a bit uncomfortable. Let's face it, it's uncomfortable. It doesn't get any easier. I don't know about you, but
No.
just easy for you.
No, it doesn't. No, no. When I speak to people, when I speak to people about it, and they say, "Oh, why the hell would you do it?" Like they can't understand. They think I'm completely mental. But I have this conversation backwards and forwards in my head. You've always got that little voice in your head, and you just saying, "Oh, come on, you haven't got to go in. You can have a day off. Stay in the nice warm kitchen. Why have you got to go trundling down those old patio slabs again?" And and it's so funny whenever it's raining. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I just hate going in the rain, even though you're going to get wet anyway. But 30 seconds in, and then I'm fine, and my breath calms down. I can breathe properly, and then I'm like, "Oh god, this is amazing." And but yeah, it's the mind. I think
It's a discipline.
it's the
It's a
discipline,
discipline.
and you're training your mind, and you're training that voice as well to say, "No, I'm in charge, not you." And
Yeah,
yeah,
because you've got the choice going in and getting out, so you're in control.
mm,
No one else is tempted to do that, because and that's it. You're totally in control for the first time. And as I say, it's flexing that discipline muscle.
yeah,
Like, I think I was saying, I was watching I think it was Dr. David Huberman,
yeah,
and he was doing an interview with David Goggins, one of my heroes, obviously.
yeah. Goggins, what a legend.
I absolutely love Goggins. And he was saying that Dr. Huberman was saying that people who do hard things, who push themselves to do things that they don't want to do, have got a part of their brain which actually gets bigger the more they do these
Yeah,
things.
physically
And
it gets
people,
bigger. Yeah,
yeah, and actually the people who've got this size of this part of the brain which is big are people who tend to live a lot longer, because it's because they've got this fight for life in them, which people who've got a smaller one, that they've more tendency of dying earlier, apparently. But you've got to keep that going, apparently. If you were to stop, it would shrink and you would be back to whatever. So you've got to keep, a bit like going to the gym, you've got to keep on lifting those weights. You've got to keep on getting to that cold water to keep it going. So I think it's quite interesting, really. I was quite interested about that documentary.
yeah, yeah. The Huberman stuff. I follow his podcast. It's incredible. Some of the people that he gets on, but yeah, I did. I do remember him talking about flexing that part of the brain, and there's been studies, and it does get bigger. And then yeah, if you keep it up, then there's links to longevity as well. Yeah, so interesting. It's fascinating stuff, and it? It really is.
I mean, you say so much, you look into it, and there's so much out there, and then all the benefits as well as the benefits of the cold water for your immune system and your information. And do you know, I didn't know what information was. I was, do you know, when they talk about this information, I didn't know what it was, but I looked it up, and it's a natural thing, but sometimes it can be overactive, and it can cause joint pain and diseases and cancers or whatever. And this is apparently, it reduces that, and it can help with that. I also, as I said, I think on my group, and I thought, I'm sure they won't mind me saying it, the women who go of a certain age come along to the dips, and it cools them down slightly.
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
so I'm saying, menopause or whatever, it actually cools it down, so it has those benefits as well.
Yeah, there's so many hidden benefits that we don't even know about that we're going to keep on finding out as more and more people do it.
Exactly. And as I say, I haven't had a cold. I'm trying to think. I haven't actually had a cold now for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah,
I've had like the beginning of a cold, but then it just goes within the sort of the day, and it's gone.
yeah.
So I went to do with that. I don't know, but
Your immune system, so much stronger now with a healthy
yeah, and
lifestyle.
well, it could. Oh, hopefully, yeah. Well, hopefully, it's something to do with that. I think it all helps anyway. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Nutrition, then, Chris. What part has that played in your transformation? I've been doing lots of since I've got into personal development. I've been practicing and trying different things, eating different things, drinking different things, trying different supplements. What's worked for you?
What's worked for me? I think it's because I don't like. I think I've tried all the different diets. What's going?
Yeah,
The Atkins, the cabbage diet, whatever. Yeah, all these different things. And I don't like diets. I decided that I think you've got to stick with something you can see yourself eating for the rest of your life, and not to be too restricted.
Yeah. More of a lifestyle diet.
Yeah, just to sort of like to have the fact of eating good for 80% of the time, and the other time do what you want. Don't restrict yourself. Have that pizza when you want. Have that bit of chocolate. Go out for a meal. Don't be afraid of having dessert. It's that sort of thing. But the majority of the time, just be conscious of what you're eating. Very nutritionally dense food. So with everything I have vegetables with, I make sure I have enough protein as you get older. I think having protein is very important to get those muscles, because your muscles get smaller and you get weaker as you get older. So the more that you can keep those muscles in good condition, the better. I have my supplements, the creatine. So I take creatine every day, which again, there's a lot of studies of creatine. You can look it up yourself, but there's lots and lots of different studies how it's not just good for your strength, but it's good for your brain as well. And they're pointing out a lot more things how good it is. So I do that as well. But I'm also recently I've been there's a lot of with the mushrooms. There's a lot of
psychedelics.
Not so much psychedelics. I might have done that in the 90s, but so certain mushrooms can give you energy. They can make you sleep better. They can reduce stress. And there's this company I've been using in where you put a little bit under your tongue, and it's like lion's mane and cordyceps, these sort of things. And I've been doing that. And whether or not they've done anything, it could be a placebo, but I definitely feel like I've got a lot more energy and my sleep is a lot better.
Okay. How long have you been doing that for, Chris?
I've been properly now doing it since at the beginning of this year. So just before Christmas, I sort of started taking it regularly. Just in the morning, these drops I put under my tongue, with the water, again, hydration as well. So I always start the day with a pint of water. I sound really old now, so I start the day off. Last cup of tea. No, it's like a pint of water, some lemon, fresh lemon, bit creatine, apple cider vinegar, and I drink all that, and I have that, and then I have the mushroom supplements as well before I do anything, and then I have a cup of coffee a couple of hours later. Yeah.
Any magnesium? Are you a fan of magnesium?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, again, whether or not, they do say, don't they, that it's good for sleep.
Yeah.
And I take magnesium before bed, about half an hour or so before bed. I seem to get quite a good sleep for that.
Yeah. So
it's very hard. I think supplements. I think the basics you need to master first. Supplements are just the extra. Just getting to bed on time, the same time every night, waking up the same time every morning. Try to nail that. Then the supplements come along.
Yeah.
But either good nutritious foods, lots of protein, fiber, not too much ultra processed foods if possible. Try to have it like proper, like make your foods. I don't like buying pre-packed foods. I like actually making it, chicken, mince, and doing it that way, and batch cooking as well. So it saves me getting hungry when I get in and grabbing a pizza from the freezer. Do you know what I mean? It's like the meals are all ready to go, and I could just put that in the microwave and job done.
This is what I've really struggled with. So trying to get away from ultra processed food is just so convenient, and it's cheaper as well. I found that it's more expensive to eat these whole foods. Living a healthy lifestyle, it can be more expensive, and it's more time consuming as well. I recently went on the keto diet, and I was cooking everything from scratch, and I drove my wife absolutely mental. She was just like, "Oh, this is so inconvenient. This is so selfish of you." And I couldn't eat with them. I had to do my own food, and it is a big pain in the ass, especially when you're obviously busy. You've got kids. You're building an online business. You've got a podcast going. You work full time. It's tough. But I really did feel the benefits, especially after a couple of weeks. And with the keto diet, you don't have any sugar. My sugar cravings really did start to die down after a couple of weeks. that's when you really, really feel the benefits, and you don't get those cravings so much, and you can
Hmm.
concentrate. And you were saying earlier about creatine and focus and stuff like that. I have found since I've been on creatine and since I started taking magnesium that these things have all improved. But again, you don't know whether it's placebo, do you? But I swear that it has made a difference for me anyway.
Yeah, but with the creatine, because I say I was taking say 5 grams of creatine in the morning, but then I've actually upped it now because I said I think the study's saying if you go up another 5 grams, it's because you that first 5 grams, your muscles take all that. It's quite greedy, so the muscles want to absorb that. But then if you take a little bit more, that can go to your brain, which then
Yeah.
creates better focus. So I've upped it now to about 10 grams a day. And also I do feel like even if I've not had the best night's sleep, I find that I'm not so I recover a lot better. Whether or not, again, as you said, it's placebo, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's definitely I've definitely got into that a lot, and it's quite cheap as well, isn't it? It's very cheap.
It is now because it's so widely available and there's lots of competition. It's really, really taken off everywhere. And you were just saying about sleep as well. So yeah, with creatine on the Huberman podcast, I remember him saying that they've done studies with people with jet lag who fly a lot, and when they take creatine, they can really handle the jet lag. When they've had a bad night's sleep, they can still perform and they can still do their jobs around the world or whatever they're doing. So it definitely helps with sleep and focus, but you've got to be taking a lot. I think some of these studies they were taking at 15, 20 grams a day or whatever. But
Mm.
yes, interesting stuff.
Yeah, no, I think you can go down again a bit rabbit holes of all the with the supplements and what's what, and there's so much conflicting and things about this is bad, this is good. I just think I say you just got intuitive. It's like what did what did your ancestors eat? What did they take? What did they do? They moved more. They ate whole foods. Didn't eat ultra processed foods. Eggs. Milk, meats, vegetables, and also seasonal. I mean, if you could do seasonal, that's amazing. I don't like the idea of eating strawberries in February. It doesn't feel right to me. Um, you should be eating stuff which is naturally there at that time of the year. I think that helps as well. So, and to say, and the sleep thing as well, with getting the right sleep, getting circadian rhythm going, waking up when the sun's rising and going to bed almost when the sun's setting, dimming the lights. There's lots of like this sleep. They call it sleep hygiene, isn't it? Making sure you sleep. Because I say sleep's so important for me. I'm sure it is for you. If I don't sleep, I'm definitely not functioning
No,
properly.
no.
I'm definitely not going to work out as
And
much.
a lot of it boils down to energy, like you said before. When you get that good night's sleep, when you eat the right foods, when you exercise, it makes a massive difference in your energy.
Definitely. You're not going to snap at people. You're going to be more happier and letting less skipping without having to skip and being happier. Yeah. So sleep's very important for me.
Definitely. So moving on, Chris, manifestation, I absolutely love it. Manifestation, visualization, this sort of stuff. I absolutely love Dr. Joe Dispenza. Has manifestation and visualization, has that played any part in your transformation?
Yes, it has actually. I was a bit of a skeptic about it. It's a bit too far out there, I thought. But I got coached again on my journey, right at the very beginning, and it was NLP training. So they did on me, and a lot of it was this manifestation thing where you try to imagine yourself and hear things and smell things, and you're like as if it's again it's like it's happening, and I'm doing it already. It's happening. And it's amazing, you're seeing it, and it's to say you actually feel like you've achieved because you say the brain doesn't realize what thoughts are and what's real and whatever, and
Your imagination?
yeah, and it really was it was an eye opener. It really was an eye opener. It was like the world wasn't the same after I'd done this coaching. This is what got me into all this really after this one coach. I think was it that when she said, "Oh, it's a bit like the Matrix. You take this pill, take the you take that your whole life's going to be different in a bit," and it is actually it was, and I remember doing this thing, and they say, "What? Where can you see yourself?" And I said, "Oh, I can see myself on a beach." This is before I even knew anything was going to happen. and I'm telling, and I'm people running around, and I'm laughing, and I'm getting people are like running around working out, and there's the sea, and I could see all this,
Mm.
and it happened. You know, I mean,
That's
it
amazing.
just
I love it. I bloody
it's
love it.
yeah. Well, I had to put the work in to do it. Don't get me wrong, but it actually happens. You put yourself into situations, don't you? You put yourself in the right environment, right place, the right type kind of situations, and it happens.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had a bit of a realization quite recently. I do meditations of my future self and where I want to be and what I want to become. And I remember I was going into a deep one, and I sort of snapped out of it halfway through. I was like, I am actually living the life that I've been meditating for so long. As so much of it has come true now, like you just said uh, about about the beach, and that was a big part of us moving to the Isle of Man. I always used to drift off, and with Dr. Joe Dispenza, you do a mind movie, he calls it, and you sort of picture yourself in a movie, and you build this picture and this vision, and it when it becomes so clear and you come out of it, and your brain, it's I love the analogy of a dream, because when you wake up from a dream, it feels like you really feel like you were there, don't you? And your brain doesn't know the difference between a reality and a dream. And we're actually just about to get a dog, and part of moving to the Isle of Man was all about getting a dog. So part of my visualization has always been having a dog, and taking our dog for a walk on the beach. And in a couple of months, we're actually going to be doing that. So yeah, I love it, mate. I could talk about this stuff for days on end.
You could do a whole thing on it, couldn't you? Really? On it. 'Cause it's just so interesting. And as I said, I was a skeptic, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're there, and it truly does work.
Mm,
And I think a lot of sports people don't know, and they
mm,
imagine themselves and winning the race as if they finished and done it, and they can memorize the track, and yeah, and it works,
mm.
absolutely works.
Yeah,
It's, definitely give it a go. Well, that's all I would say.
yeah. Don't be so skeptical.
Yeah, and with vision boards, I mean, there's all this thing about vision boards as well.
Mm,
Isn't it? You see that, you look and you vision, you say, "This is what I want," and it doesn't just happen.
yeah,
You know, like I want £1 million, and bang, you know, it's like you've got to work for it. But it's yeah, you're visioning it and you're working your way towards that all the time. That vision.
yeah. It's like having that North Star, and it's guiding you, and you
Mm.
just got to break up the goal, reverse engineer it, lots of mini manifestations, and those small incremental steps will eventually build up over time, and you will get there in the end. That's just what I tell clients all the time. And it's yeah, you can turn a dream into reality if you keep on working. But manifestation's got such a bad name because of books like The Secret and other stuff, where a lot of people just believe, oh no, you just wish it and you just think it, and it turn up on your doorstep. It's like, no, you got to have a plan. You've got to truly believe in whatever you're visualizing. You got to feel as though you're worthy of having it as well, and then create such a compelling, I always say, such a compelling future that you'd be mad not to go after it and not chase it.
Yeah, exactly that, exactly. And then you could say, as I said before, you've got this one, you know, one life. I know it's a bit sounds cheesy. You have this one life. Just you know, try things, do it, go for it. If you've got this dream in your head, well, why are you not doing it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah,
You know, you're not going to.
a lot of it boils down to limiting beliefs, like you were saying about NLP earlier. So I know NLP dives into limiting beliefs, it's a lot. And what would you say to anyone, Chris, who they've got dreams, they've got aspirations, and they're thinking, yeah, I want to do that, but I've got I've got so many limiting beliefs. I've got X, Y, and Z that are holding me back. And then you get a lot of negative self talk. You got that little voice in your head that we were speaking about earlier. What would you say to people who are getting these limiting beliefs and negative self talk?
Well, you've only got to say you've only got the limited beliefs because you're not doing it. You know, you have if you don't do it, you're going to be. You know, you've just got to make that jump. It's hey, you've got what is the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
what's the worst and you go look back on, you say, you see what you want to do, and you say, I don't think I can do that. And you say, okay, well, what's the worst that can happen then? Like, I know sometimes it's a job and whatever, but, would you be able to find yourself another job? Would you be able to, would you be able to fall back on that again? Could you do it as a part-time role? Could you, there's always a way. Just looking at it for what it is, because it's not, it's not as, we make it bigger than it really is.
Yeah. You over catastrophize things all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's to say a lot of things are a lot more easier and simpler to achieve than you think.
Mm.
And it's very small steps, and it's very small steps, and just, you know, do it as a hobby, or just, you can do that. Like I did it. It was like, it's a hobby, and you just gradually build on it. Uh, but you just got to do it, and don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. I know it's difficult, and when you've got family and everything else, and it doesn't have to be big. Give it a go. Just give it a go.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. And don't listen to people as well. So you're gonna get people saying, "Well, that's a bad idea." You're gonna get that a lot.
Yeah. Only take advice off people that inspire you and that you look up to.
That you would take advice of, yeah. I mean, a lot of people would give you, but you wouldn't. They're with a palm, yeah, mate, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's like, thanks people who want to drink, but do you know what I mean? You want to take it off people that you actually would want to take advice off,
Mm.
or some people who care about you because they're worried that it's going to fail. Like, my parents, a good example. They're like, "Oh, do you think that's good? You think, what I mean?" They were very cautious about things, what I was going to do. But it's not because at the first I thought it because why are they being so negative about it? But it's because you've got to see from their perspective. That they care very deeply about what happens, and they want me to succeed, and I don't want, can't do that. You've got to make these chances. You've got to make these little risks sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think the risks, the ones pay off.
They're doing it from a place of love. They're trying to protect you. They've got your best interests at heart, but it's not the right decision for you. And you've got to live with it for the rest of your life. They haven't. So
Yeah, it's to say you're living your life. They want to put their experiences in their life onto you a little bit. And as I say, I understand that. But this is your life. This is your opportunity. And you don't be the same as everyone else. Just do it.
in your opinion, Chris, what is the hardest part of change?
It's just because you're going against your old self. This is you. You've been doing you for a while, and then you're trying to change it, and it's a big step. And these like the self talk, you put yourself down, say, "Oh, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't have to do this." I think that's the difficult. Don't listen to the voices in your head, and again, don't listen to what people say. It's very much that, because it can be very scary, and I think we want it to be safe, don't we? We want to have the
Comfortable.
easiest path. Yeah, the easiest path, and doing these things, change is not easy.
Mm.
Otherwise, everyone would be changing all the time. It's definitely not easy. It takes a lot of work, a lot of patience, a lot of failures, but it's all worth it. And you just got to, so that's the scary part. It's failure, I think.
Yeah. People don't want to be seen to be a failure because they don't want to be judged by other people. They don't want to be laughed at. They don't want to be whatever it might be for different people. So it's easier for them just to stay in their lane and carry on doing the same thing. But then with so many things, I read a great book recently, The Five Regrets of the Dying. I don't know if you read it. That's a hell. That's a, it's a hell of a book. And yeah, one of the biggest regrets is not living a life true to themselves. I think that was the first. I
Yeah.
think that was the first regret out of the five, and it's just so powerful. There's so many people do it, and I say to people that I coach, I say you got two main pains in life. You got discipline or regret. You get your head down, you do the hard work now, and then you won't have regret when you're older. I said because trust me, you will. All the personal development work that I've done, all the successful people that inspire me, they all say the same thing. You can't live with regret. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to put the hard work in now, and it will pay off in the long run. It's the whole delayed gratification thing, isn't it? rather than seeking short-term pleasures. Put the hard work in and live a fulfilled life, and you don't have that regret on your deathbed. I think it's so powerful.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think a lot of people they want the quick fix, and they want the, they don't want to go through the pain, and they want that dopamine hit of, because I think everything's very much now, isn't it? You can order stuff now, you can fit, like, everything's now, and yeah, the thought of putting the work in and the put and go through all the pain, it's some people just can't do it, and that's why a lot of people don't do it. It's only a very small amount of people who put up with that. And but it's the delayed, gratification. It's that there's only a certain handful of people who do it, and I wish there was more people who would go for it, as you said. And they will regret it. They will regret it, and they're the ones that, when they're in their 60s, they're moaning to their mates at work, moaning about how bad their boss is and how bad this is, and how it, that's the that's the, and I've got. It's, I'm going to sound harsh, but it's kind of, that's your fault. You could have changed if you wanted to. I know it's difficult. It's hard. You have got that opportunity to change.
Yeah, no, it's so true. So, so true, mate. We touched earlier, Chris, on your kids and fatherhood. How has that played out a part in your transformation and your motivation and everything else?
I would say a massive part. Because I say the reason why I keep it, and as I said to you before earlier on, is, I'm training for my older self. Before the reason why I did all the working out and exercise was to look good. I've got to be honest. And then it's changed because I want to walk my granddaughter down the aisle. I want to see them. I want to see my kids get married. The motivation is, and also that, the kids look up to you as well. And they look at everything. They're like sponges. They soak up everything that you do. And if they see, for instance, if I carried on the same way as I was, and they're just seeing their dad sat there on the sofa with a pipe, falling asleep, what does that tell them? Or do they see, their dad going to the gym, running, jumping, being a bit silly, going in the water all the time? What does it tell then? And that's why I do it. I mean, I'm lucky to say all my kids are all into their fitness. My son, who's he'll be 16 actually next month. He's now down at the gym all the time. He's bigger than me
Brilliant.
now. He's lifting more than me, and he says to me, he goes, "What, Dad?" That's like, what do you bench? What do you bench, bro? And I'm like, and I'm saying, well, I was Sonny. I did about 100 kilos. And he goes, "Oh, right, yeah, I did 110, didn't I?" I'm like, "Oh, right, okay." So it's funny because we have a bit, like,
A bit
we
of
kind of push each
banter.
other. Exactly, but it's great that he does that. And my daughter, she comes down with me. We do the boot camp and the sea dips. She's 8, and she actually gets involved with the boot camps, and she tells everyone just where to go, and she shows them the exercises, and so that is great. So that it's whatever I'm doing now is kind of rubbing off,
Yeah.
and I'm so pleased of that. And my kids the same. My son, I mean, I know when they get to 16, they like to dabble in alcohol and everything. And I'm sure you can remember what you were like when you were younger. Yeah, I know. Park benches.
In the 90s as well, like you said, with the rave scene, I was the same, mate. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you actually, I
Hit it
think
hard.
hate to think. Yeah, you dread to think, and that's what I mean. I have these images of what my son's doing. I'm like, no. But he seems to be, what he's showing me, that he seems to be very much not wanting to drink, um, and which makes me very happy. I mean, if you could say, I know everyone's got to find out their own way, but so far, because I don't drink, that it's not a part of it.
Yeah. It's setting the example. I always say to people that your kids don't do as they're told. Well, obviously you like to think they would, but they do what you do. And if you set a good example, they're always looking up to you. They're always watching. So, like you just said, if you're fit and you're healthy and you exercise and you prioritize the right things in life, of course that's going to rub off. If they see you partying, drinking, doing God knows what else, then they're going to think that's normal and they're going to obviously do it as well. But I always say to my son that I don't, now that I've been alcohol free, like well over a year, and all the work that I do, I said, look, I don't expect you not to do it. I said, you're young, you're going to do it. You're going to try these things. It's all part of growing up. But yeah, he's really into his boxing now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So um, I think being a good role model is absolutely massive. And yeah, just being that good example is going to pay off dividends. And again, it all comes back to delayed gratification, but in that put in that hard work for the long term gains.
Exactly. You know, as I said, it's that's what you want. That's your job, isn't it? Your job is.
Mm,
I mean, you haven't got like a book on how to protect children, but I think that your job is to bring them up the best they possibly can, and you are the teacher in a way. You know, you are the role model, and you know, and that's why I say I'm sure that's why you do what you do. That's the reason why I do what I do.
mm.
Um, and it's great when you look back and I've got this image. I don't know what's when they're older saying, yeah, my dad used to do this for me, and he used to do, and that's what I want. You know, I don't want to be, yeah, her dad didn't really speak to me much. He just sat there and drank and, you know, did crack and stuff. You know, I know what I mean. I want it to be like, you know, the fit guy, the fit dad.
Yeah, the positive.
Still, yeah, I still think in my head that I could outrace my son in a sprint race. Whether or not that would happen, I don't know. He's got some social media and he does like videos. Um, and we did say that we might do a video one day of like dad versus son
Oh, it'll be
on in
brilliant.
the gym.
Yeah, you'll have to give me the heads up on that one. That'd be brilliant to
Yeah,
watch.
it's got a TikTok account, so we might do that. It should be quite funny.
We've mentioned your Facebook group a few times, Chris. What inspired you to start that? And yeah, what's it all about?
Yeah, well, it all came about during COVID. And I was quite bored. Eventually I managed to move out of my the house, and I actually moved in with my parents' house for a bit. And I was bored and I didn't know what to do. And I was following a guy called Jamie Alderton. I don't know if you've heard of Jamie Alderton.
Okay. Oh yeah,
He's like a
yeah,
fit.
yeah. I listened to him. He was on a podcast the other day on the Mend. It's a brilliant podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, he's someone I've been following him for a long time. And he said something which sort of stuck with me was during COVID. He said, "You've got this opportunity of all the time. It's got all this time now to change or to do something which you've always wanted to do. If you're not going to do it now,
Yeah.
you're never going to do it." Right? Which sort of like resonated a bit
Yeah.
in my head. And I was thinking, okay, so I sat there and I was thinking, I want to do something. And I thought, you know what, I might make a Facebook group up. I was chatting to this girl at the time who I met down the beach, and she did a bit of she did workouts on the beach on her own with battle ropes and all stuff. And I got chatting to her, and sometimes I actually did some workouts in the car park, obviously at a safe distance.
Yeah.
um, and we were doing that, and we got going, and then I was thinking about making a group up, and to keep people active and to keep people not so bored. So I made a group up called Lockdown Challenges originally, and it was a very small little group with mainly friends and family. And it was to get people to do things each week, you know, like press ups, wall sit challenges, a walk 10,000 steps challenges, just, you know, those sort of things. And I also did a Facebook live every Sunday, which I hated doing because I hated doing live stuff. I absolutely, you know, you're petrified.
Yeah. Yeah. You are.
I kind of thought, oh, I'll do that. And it was, yeah, and it was very successful. It's got people moving. It got, because people were bored, it gave them something to do. And I really enjoyed it, you know, and the group was, I think it was only like 150 people or something, as I say, very small. But then as lockdown restrictions lifted, they could see that I was down the beach a lot of the time doing workouts and getting in the water and talking in the water. And I thought to myself, I'm getting a lot of benefits from this, getting in the water. I want other people to get the same benefits.
Yeah.
So I wrote on Facebook and socials to like voice for, you know, gospel where I live, gospel voice for Fareham or whatever, saying if you fancy just having a meet up down the beach, making new friends and then getting in the cold water, come on down. Didn't think much of it. And I remember that and I made this on the state, particularly on Saturday. And I remember going for a walk, not thinking much of it. And I remember coming back from the walk in the car park, and literally there's about 30 or 40 people standing there
Oh wow.
with bags, all looking at me, like, look, I know, what do we do now? And I was thinking, oh no,
I
like,
haven't prepared for this.
I haven't prepared for this whatsoever. And it was just amazing. And they were they were all nervous and all like, "Ooh," you know, but they all, once they got in the water, they were changed. As I say, they all came out different people. They're all smiling and laughing. And their whole idea was, because of lockdown, was to get people talking again, because people were so scared of getting in groups and talking because they've been so shut away for so long.
Isolation.
Isolation, that it was an idea of getting people together and to make friends. And yes, it did. I mean, my group grew, say, it was about 150 people. Then it grew to sort of 1,800 people over the course of 5 or 6 years. And yeah, it sort of gradually grew and grew. Like, the whole idea was to get people together, to socialize, to make new friends. And all these people are also doing, like, meeting up for meals and coffees and making new friendships, which is fantastic. And then from then on, I started wanting to add on other things like walks, and we did yoga. So I organised yoga on the beach. I organised a little pickup along the beach.
Brilliant. Wow.
I got a Wim Hof instructor, and he did some breath work on the beach, and then we did a Wim Hof workshop, which was amazing. So yeah, it's just I wanted to bring people together, and also people in the community who kind of do the same wellness stuff, and to showcase what they do to people, and to people to experience all these sort of, like, I suppose, like, like sound baths, all that sort of out there things, and to get people to experience it. And I just say that's the whole reason really why I wanted to set up this group, really, was just to get people together and to try things out.
Yeah, it's that real sense, going back to that community again, that sense of connection. And when like-minded people come together, it can be such a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's what I just love it. And I say I don't get bored of it. I'm always saying I'm thinking of things to do to bring people together, and that's why now, as I say, the group changed, because it was the Solent Splashes, and then I changed it to Thrive very recently, because I felt that I wanted to not just be about cold water dipping and swimming. I wanted to be about bringing people together to work together, to encourage each other. And by me, so I'm going to be organising. So next week, I'm organising a Couch to 5K for people who want to start doing a bit of running. So I'm organising that next week. I'm organising a trip up to Snowdon, which I have done before, but I'm going to organise another trip up to Snowdon to get people, again, working together, sense of community, encouraging. Tougher mothers, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, because I think a lot of people don't want to do it on their own. It's much more difficult to, like, about to do it, but you're on your own. But if you're in a group or a team,
Yeah,
you're more likely to go for it, I think.
it's accountability as well. As a group, you're going to be held accountable.
Absolutely. So once you say you're going to do it, you're there, and it'd be like, right, we're doing it on this day. I'll have your money now.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it down. We're going to do the Tougher Mudder. That's it. You're kind of going to do it. That's the whole reason, and I love it. I love to see people who come out their shells, people who didn't think they could do certain things. I mean, I've got this on my group. There's this old lady. I'm sorry, I say old lady. It sounds terrible. There's this lady of a certain age, she's about 80.
Yeah.
She used to come down to the beach, and she used to just watch us. And she used to go over to her and says, "Oh, young man, I just love this. All these lovely young people in the water. I'd love to do that." And I said, "Well, why don't we give it a go? Come down." She goes, "Oh, I don't know if I can." I said, "Well, just give it a go." And then gradually, like, she'd put her feet in the water and she'd, like, little paddle. And then to the point where she was actually coming into us up to her waist. And then I remember I did some sunset. I do some sunset dips, and when you can do it, it's not dark. And she got in, and she was literally up to there, like, to her, over her waist. And I said, "Right, you get your shoulders under." She went, "Oh, I don't know." I went, "Go on then." And she did it. And she went, "Oh," all right. And all of a sudden, she turned into a kid. She started screaming, shouting. There was a massive grin on her face.
Oh, brilliant.
She used to look like, from an 80-year-old, she turned to like a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Just see, and how pleased that she was, and everyone clapped and everyone cheered, and she felt like, it's a sense of community and an achievement, and we also encouragement.
Mm.
So yeah, I love that.
That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. My my experience in COVID was very different, mate. I bought a hot tub and just got pissed for a couple of years, really.
Sounds great.
Very, very different. So Nowadays, then, Chris, obviously, with all the mindset work, the transformation that you've done, how do you handle setbacks compared to how you used to handle them back in the day?
Well, when I had, well, back in the day with setbacks, my way of dealing with it is to have a few drinks, you know, feel sorry for myself. It's everyone else's fault.
Victim mindset.
Um, yeah, wallow in and basically wallow in self pity, and that's what I used to do. And then after obviously lots of training and coaching, I don't see that anymore. It's like you're allowed to feel it. You're allowed to feel that sense of disappointment or being fed up and miserable. Because believe it or not, I'm not always that positive. I know it's hard to believe, but
Yeah.
um, everyone's human. We have those days, but what I tend to do is I sit with it for a while, and then I would think to myself, well, what can I do to make myself feel better? Instead of how am I feeling now? It's like, well, how do I want to feel? Yeah. So I think, well, what's going to make me feel better? Well, obviously a walk, movement, as we talked about before, just getting moving, playing my favorite music. I might watch a comedy, just anything but have a drink or whatever. Just do the opposite from that. It's just say, if I was out of 10, for instance, and I was, and so they said, oh, how do you feel, Chris, out of 10? 0 being terrible and 10 being great, and I'm like a 6. And I go and I think, well, Chris, what can make you like an 8? How can I raise it up to a few? What would make me feel better? And you start looking at that, and as soon as you start looking at ways of making you feel better, you can get yourself out of it.
Mm.
There's always something you can do, like skipping,
Get moving.
get moving. Yeah, there's always something you can do.
Distract yourself one way or the other, but yeah, just get moving, just and stop over catastrophizing, stop overthinking.
Yeah, I mean, work out the reasons why and what could you've done better, or why you're feeling that way, and then they go, okay, well, what am I going to do about it? Do I choose to sit in this the way I feel, or do I choose to change how I feel? Do I choose that energy? How do I feel? So that's how you do. You just change your energy, you change the way you feel, and that seems to work for me.
Mm. Yeah. If you could go back and give yourself your younger version any advice, Chris, what would it be?
I say don't. Again, where I think it's look, don't listen to other people. Be your own person. You are going to get people who don't who are going to call you this and call you that. It's just do your own thing. Don't be afraid of taking the chance. Don't take risks. Sorry, don't be afraid of taking the risks. Just be you. Don't be anyone else. Just be you. Don't try to fit in.
Mm.
Be the odd one out.
Yeah.
Why do you want to be the same as everyone else?
Yeah. Why do you want to be a sheep? I say it all the time to people.
Mm.
Why do you want to follow the crowd? You do you. Don't worry about anybody else.
Because you look at everyone else. I mean, I'm not being, but if you look at what most people are miserable and sad and angry. Do you want to be like them? Yeah, be the opposite. Be the opposite from that, and be able to put up with the ridicule and the nit taking and everything else. I know it's difficult when you're younger because you want to fit in. You don't want to be. You want to be accepted, but in the long run, it's better not to. And people will follow in the end because they see, once they see how you are and how things are going and how good you look and how happy you are, they're going to want a bit of that.
Yeah. It comes down to being a good example again, doesn't it? Really. Yeah. And it is tough. I've really, really struggled since going alcohol free, not to be self-righteous and preachy. My wife many times has said, Luke, you gotta rein it in. You gotta stop telling you gotta stop telling people how great this is and how you feel so different and it's transformational and it's this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I have learned in the last couple of years to start to rein it in but it's tough when you're this. I speak to lots of other coaches, lots of other people who have been long term sober, and a lot of us, we love banging the drum because we really do feel like we've looked behind the curtain, and like you were saying about the Matrix earlier, we feel like we've taken that red or blue pill, and you don't need to keep escaping. You can live a truly fulfilled, happy life, and you don't need to keep escaping with all these other distractions, with whether it's your phone, whether it's work, whether it's alcohol, whether it's, all these negative things. But it's tough. Again, just like your children, be be that shining light, be the good example. And people, so many, like, I've had, I've lost friends since I've gone sober, definitely. But some of them have started coming back now. It's a mourning. I say to people, it's a mourning period for them as well. They 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 used to love that old version of you, and it's really, really hard for them. And in the beginning, it's such a shock, and they might make some horrible comments. They might put you down. They might try and belittle you in a group. We were talking about that earlier, but a lot of my friends that I thought I lost, they are starting to come back. So when you do change and when you do transform, it's not just you that has got to go through with it. I think your family and friends have as well.
Yeah. And as I said, what you were saying about trying to bang the drum and trying to like preach how great everything is, and look at me getting up at 5 in the morning, it's great. It's so, it's very difficult, and people will move away and they will say these things, saying, "God, that Chris, he's lost it." And look, he's climbing mountains and he's being this guru and
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
just because
yeah.
he's
Who does he think he is? He thinks he's better. He thinks he's better than us now. Yeah, yeah.
exactly got to be very careful. But what I tend to do is that in the end, if you can't preach and unsolicited advice or whatever, it's like the saying is, don't be the tugboat, be the lighthouse. You're just doing your thing. You'll be leading by example. People will be attracted to you by how you are. If you're happy and your life's looking pretty good, then people are going to want a bit of that, as I say, and you're going to be that lighthouse, and people who you thought you lost might want to come back, and then they might ask for a bit of help or advice, because not because you pushed it, because they want to.
Yeah.
I think support.
Yeah, I was speaking to a really good friend recently, and we're having a really, really good conversation. And obviously, me moving over here to the Isle of Man, I haven't spoke to a lot of my close friends, and we definitely, we grew apart, obviously, because I don't live in Bristol anymore. But we were having a great conversation, and he said, God, he said, you're still the same. You haven't changed. It was a bit of a wow for him, because he thought I really did, and I was like, mate, I'm still the same person. I'm living a different lifestyle now. I'm not out on the piss all the time, and I'm not into this, that, and the other, but it's still me. I'm still in here. So yeah, yeah, it's it is a really tough thing. Like you were saying, change is tough, but it's so worth it when you do the work.
Yeah, and I say you attract to say different people as well come into your life. And it's weird how when I was in the doing the DJing, you attract those sort of people. Um, and then, but when you studying change and you sort of put yourself in situations, all of a sudden you're attracting like yoga instructors, soundbar people, coaches. All of a sudden they attract you. So it's just it's just a weird how it changes, and it's not. It's like I'm glad of my life then. I mean, I would be the person I was now if it wasn't for Mr. J the DJ, back in the day. I know it's terrible, isn't it? But yeah, it would. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be now. I wouldn't be the same.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
thank for that and all the good times, which I can remember. Well, some of it I can remember, but yeah,
Yeah, it's different chapters, and it's all about evolution. I think I know it sounds corny and terrible, but life is a journey, and it's never going to be a straight line. You're going to go off. You're going to go here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, it's different chapters, and I think if life was the same all the time, and you did live on autopilot and in those same habits and same routines, it would be boring. So yeah, it's all about
roller
chapters.
coaster.
It's a roller
Yeah,
coaster. Yeah. So,
like if it was a roller coaster and it was just a flat ride, you wouldn't do anything. It makes it more of a better roller coaster when you're going up and down, round, round. That's what makes it interesting, isn't it? And it's the same with chapters. It's like
yeah,
it's the same thing. It'd be pretty dull. Yeah, definitely.
definitely. Is there any favorite books or podcasts that you want to recommend before we wrap up,
The
Chris?
new one for Luke's really, really good, actually. But no problem, mate. Yeah, it's. I mean, the books wise, David Goggins can't hurt me. He's a really favorite, one of my favorite books.
Yeah, amazing book.
the audio is really good because it's like a podcast, and
It's a podcast. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. He's being interviewed and then he's going in. It's a really good mixture of stories and strategy. Like, I'm, I'm obviously into the mindset and strategy side of things, but my wife, for example, she loves stories. She loves storytelling and she actually really, really liked that book, which
mm,
surprised me because I didn't think she would, because a lot of it is Goggins is really full on and brutal, but he ties it in really, really well with stories because he's got some amazing stories, hasn't he? God.
yeah, unbelievable stories. I mean, I don't know. I mean, just it could be, you think it's fiction. It's that mad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and from where he came from,
Yeah.
you know, like the dead end job, overweight, an abusive childhood, to becoming who he is, you know, the hardest man in the world, you know, Navy SEAL. I mean, that's mad. I mean, and I don't know about you, but I mean, I've been on some runs before, and I have David Goggins in my
Yeah.
ear,
Yeah.
and I've heard about the cookie jar and you know, all that sort of stuff. I love it, and I've listened to that many times on the way to work, and it really gets me going. So I've got something I want to do, and I think, well, all I'm doing is that. I mean, David Goggins. I mean, he ran with a broken leg, you know, bleeding blood.
Yeah. Yeah. Pissing blood and shitting himself and God knows what else.
Oh my god, yeah. So it's definitely motivational for me. So that's one of the ones, and there's been another one, Paul Mort. I don't know if you've ever heard of Paul Mort. He's a coach, a
No.
life coach. It's a book called Paul Mort Will Save Your Life, and he used to be a coke addict and drank too much, and he had bipolar and all this stuff, and he managed to sort his life out and become a coach. And he's from Newcastle, so he's very much to the point. And I was actually coached by him as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he takes he's like no bullshit approach, they call it, where, you know,
No
if you're not doing
prisoners.
the work, if you're not doing the work, he'll call you up on it. And with the coaching, if you didn't get your homework done on time, he would call you out in front of everyone.
Yeah.
So
Hold you
I
accountable.
like I like that style very much. So yeah, that's another great book which I like. And the Ross Edgley books. I don't know if you've Ross Edgley, with the guy who swam around the entire
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
coast of Great.
Yeah.
Well, his books are really interesting too.
Yeah.
Great story, and he explains the science behind his training and how he managed to get around there, how he managed to get over many things like jellyfish stings, and his dad being very ill and having that in his thoughts as he got round.
Mm.
Very interesting book.
Mm. So, what does the next chapter look like for you, Chris? And where can people find you? I'll put all the links for your socials and your Facebook group and stuff in the show notes anyway.
Yeah. So say yeah. Obviously, I'm on Facebook and Facebook group Thrive. So if you look that up, I'm sure you can get on there. I'm also on Instagram as well as Thrive. Um, and yeah, TikTok as well, which I'm trying to get on with that, but it's very much a youngsters
It
thing. I
is.
don't know.
It is. Us old farts, we struggle a bit with TikTok, don't we? It's a young man, well, a
Yeah.
young man.
It
It's a young person's game, but
is, and I am trying my best, and I'm trying to post each time, and I'm trying to look like really cool and stuff. I don't know if it's working, but anyway, I'm on that. Yeah, the next chapter. I mean, as I say, regarding I like to, as I say, do lots more events. Obviously like to grow. I don't, because I felt with the Solent splashes that it was very much confined to the Solent. But I want Thrive to be like anyone can do it. They want to join in. So what I do is I set challenges each month as well for people. This month's challenge was just to walk for 30 minutes a day, nothing else. No like so many steps, just walk, cycle, jog for 30 minutes, just getting outside. Spread out over the day. You could do like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, spread out over the day. That's it. So each month, we'll come up with a different challenge to do. Next month, I think I'm going to be doing like a mind challenge where you're going to journal a little bit. So to get people used to that. And as I say, just to grow it really. So I've got the accountability groups as well. And I'm very interested in doing some podcasts, which I think I talked to you about earlier on.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to do.
I'll have to come on yours when you start one, Chris.
Most definitely, you'll be a great guest. You can tell all the stories about the rave days. Um, but yeah, just to keep on pushing the the mission really of being together, movement. You'll feel feeling better, getting outside in nature. Most definitely. Don't be. I mean, I love gyms, but getting outside,
Mm.
working out outside. If I can work out outside, I'll do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I really struggle with in the winter. I was talking to you earlier about the dark mornings and obviously dark nights. But when you can get
Mm.
out into nature and yeah, your serotonin. I listen to TJ Power. Have you listened to TJ Power quite a lot? He's a neuroscientist. He's absolutely amazing. I follow his stuff a lot, and yeah, he says about dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. His book's called Dose, isn't it? Yeah, DOSE. And yeah, he talks a lot about serotonin, and your serotonin levels are really, really high when you go out into nature. And he talks a lot about evolution and going back to why we love being in groups, like in tribes, like we've been speaking about uh, today, and being out in nature. So when you combine all those things, so when you can exercise outside, you got your endorphins. When you're out in nature, you've got your serotonin, you've got your oxytocin when you're with people in that community as well. That's the feel good hormone. And then you've got your dopamine as well from exercising and moving. So you've got all those four things to that. Yeah, you might not want, you might not feel like doing it in the beginning. It goes back to discipline. But once you get out there and you do it, wow, like the feeling after is incredible.
I mean, I think the best workouts I've done, I do them when I do the boot camps, is the ones in the rain and the wind and getting into the water as well. I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, obviously it's when it's safe, but when it's a little bit wavy and it's raining and you just thinking, wow, you'll feel very powerful. You like we're back to nature, the raw, what we used to do. We're designed to be put up for hardship. We're designed to get wet. We're designed to get cold. We're designed to do that. This day and age, we're a little bit, shall we say, soft. And by doing this, it's going back to basics and doing what we're designed to do, basically.
Yeah.
And I want to promote that. And this is one of the things I'm saying. I do hard things for an easy life.
Hard life.
Yeah, I'll get there in a minute. But yeah, it was.
That's so
That's
true.
what I go by.
And that's a really good way to end it, mate. That is so, so true. Thank you so much for coming on, Chris. I really appreciated your time. I could talk to you all day about this stuff, but we'll, we'll definitely get you on again anyway, mate, as well. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on today, sharing your story. I know lots of people, lots of my listeners will take a lot from this to get a lot of value. And this this sort of stuff, this is what this podcast is all about. It's all about change, transformation, and moving forward with your next chapter. So thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you so much for getting me on. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
No worries, Chris. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Bye bye.